So today's video is going to be a little bit different to what we normally do. I'm going to show you the technique to create a sign like this. It's an LED sign, so you can put LEDs inside it. And then you can put caps over the top like this. And I'll show you how we can go about modeling those so that they fit nicely. And I'm going to give you all of the information you need to be able to make your own sign. Of course, I did the palm tree is just a picture that I traced in FreeCAD. And then I'm going to show you how I came up with these letters, and we'll go from there. So let me know if you like this format. It's a little bit different. I'm not going to go through every single step to get to this final output. I'm just going to get you to the point where you have enough information for you to be able to get to your own final output. So let's go. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we are going to, in our part design workbench, we're going to create a new file. We're going to create a part. We're going to create a body. And then we're going to go to our draft workbench, and we're going to create a shape string. And I'm going to use the word beach, B-A-C-H. I can spell beach, that would be great. Now I'm going to make it 50 tall, so let's type 50 in there. Then of course the next thing I need to do is just to pick a font file. And I'm going to pick from Windows fonts, so C:\Windows fonts if you're on Windows. I'm just going to pick the Arial bold file. And then I'm going to reset my point here and just say OK. And that's going to drop me text right on the origin there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select that shape string, and I'm going to use this command. It is the draft to sketch command. I'm going to click that, and that will create a sketch for me. I'm going to pop that sketch into my body so that the sketch is part of that body, and then I'm going to delete this shape string because I don't need it anymore. So now we have a sketch, and what we're going to do is we're going to go into that sketch. And we need to prepare this sketch so that we can create our text. And the way to do that is I did this once already, and I created each letter as a separate body. The reason I did that is so you can move them around, you can mount them however you like, because of course you have to have some kind of backing plate, because you got to get the letters to sit together. And you need to get the LEDs from one letter to the next. So what we're going to do before we do all of that, we are going to select everything. And we're going to turn it into construction lines. So now we have the whole thing as construction lines. And then what we're going to do is we need to separate each of these letters. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to close that sketch for a second, and I'm going to create a new body. I'm going to go back into my body. So I'm going to call this one letter B. So now what I'm going to do for that letter, I'm going to take a copy of this sketch. I'm just going to say copy, and then I'm just going to paste. When you paste the sketch, they always come outside the body. All you do is pick it up and drop it back into the body. Now I have that sketch inside the letter B. So that's a copy of that sketch. And I'm going to delete everything but the letter B. So to do that, I can just select those, delete them. I'm going to zoom in here a little bit, select all of this, delete it. Select this carefully not to delete any of the B. And then one of the things I wanted to show you, and the reason I chose to do it with the B, is you can see now I have these B splines. And unfortunately, if I select all of this now and try to do any kind of offset, we are not going to be able to offset the B splines. So I am going to select everything. I'm going to turn it back to lines right now. Close that. And you can pad B splines, so that's fine. Now I'm going to pad mine 25, I think. You can do as many as you want. My original, I did 50. But you can do whatever thickness you like for yours. Then what we got to do is we got to offset around here. We're going to do a little ledge, and then we're going to do a cutout, and then we're going to make the cap that goes on top of the B. So I'm going to show you how to do it for the B, because that's the most complicated one, because we've got to deal with those B splines. And then you can do it for the rest of the letters, and just so long as you follow the process. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to rename that pad, and I'm going to rename it to letter B pad. So that tells me that's the letter B. And I'm going to call this just letter B sketch. And so now I have the outline is going to be there. Now what I want to do is I want to create an offset to that. So to do that, I'm going to need to go into this sketch and create an offset. Or I can copy this sketch, and then I'm going to paste this sketch. I'm going to move that sketch into there. I'm going to rename it. As letter B ledge. So that's the ledge that the cap is going to sit on. And then we're going to have another one that will be the letter B, but it will be the letter B cutout. So let's go into this one. I'm going to turn off that pad so I can see what I'm up against. And now with these lines, each of those lines are just straight up lines. So those are good. It's these B splines we're going to have to replace. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in here and we're going to trace around the B splines with a 3-point curve. So the easiest one is this one. And the easiest way to do it is just to select that point, and then go into close up and select a point on the line. Now I have a line underneath. And then I'm going to do the same thing here. And then I'm going to do the same thing here. And you get the picture. I'm going to trace all the way around it. So I'm not going to make you watch me do that. I'm going to come back once I've got it all traced. Now I've traced around it, and it's telling me it's over constrained at the moment because we have everything constrained to these B splines. Now I need to select the B splines and delete them from here. And I can do that by going here and using these filters. If I filter here, I can say pick B splines only, so I can turn all types off, B splines. That should select my B splines for me. Didn't mean to close that. And then I should be able to go through and delete those B splines one at a time. Now, that sounds like a great idea, and it will work. But what I've done is I've created, having done this process, I created a macro that will allow me to do that a little easier. So I've called this line selector. And what it allows me to do is I can select a line of any type. So if I select that now, it's going to select all the B splines. And you can see them all being selected over here. And I'm just going to click up here just to go back and make this current. And I'm just going to hit the delete key. And that's deleted all my B splines. And if you look now, I'm not over constrained, I'm under constrained. So now I have a sketch that I can use to create my ledge. Now what I need to do is I need to offset from here. Now first thing I'm going to do for that is I'm going to select all of this. And actually one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just check that no lines are left behind from those. Sometimes it leaves little artifacts behind. I just want to make sure that we don't have any of that going on. Those are all centers of the radii. So that all looks good. So now I'm going to select all of that. And I'm going to turn that whole B into construction lines. And then I want to do my offset. So once again, I'm going to select all of that. I'm going to select the offset, going to bring it in here. And it's actually giving me an issue with going inside. And I think the reason for that is because I selected everything all at once. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this part first. I'm going to do its offset. Okay. Now I see the problem. So the reason it won't let me do the offset at the moment is because some of these lines are not closed. If you look where it's blue, the blue dots, that's not closed. So what we're going to do is we'll just select those, and then we're going to select constrain coincident, and we're going to work our way around and constrain those lines to each other. So that's the two ends of the line are sitting on top of each other, but they're not actually coincident. So what I'm doing is I'm making them coincident by selecting them. Don't do that one. I almost got one line with that line. There we go. So we're going to make them all red like that. That means they're in good shape. So I just got to do this bottom one. We're going to connect that. We're going to connect those, these, and the final couple. And so when I box select it, it's selecting the end of this line and the end of this line, and then it's connecting them together. So now we should be able to try and do our selection. And I'm going to select with my macro, I'm just going to say select all the construction lines. Then I'm going to do an offset. And then this time it should let me go inside. Now what it's doing is it's going inside everything. And that's okay. But I don't want to cut out inside these parts. I want to be outside those parts. So I'm going to right click to get off there. Okay, so now we're going to make the ledge inside the letter, and what we're going to do is we're going to select this inside part, and we're going to offset that, and we're going for 2 millimeters. So we're going to select this inside part, and we're going to offset that, and we're going to go for 2 millimeters. That's the size of the ledge that we want to make. Then I'm going to go that bottom part, offset 2 millimeters again, and then I'm going to select all of this outside part. Remember, we can select, if we left click and pull from the right is what I should have said, we can select the lines. So that's that outside shape selected, and then I'm going to come in here, and for this one it's going to be -2 because it's an inside. -2. And you can see there's a little bit of a weirdness there. I don't know what that is, but we're going to go in and clean that up. So let's do that. It appears that that is completely separate. So I'm just going to get rid of it. So there's my shape offset inside the B of 2 millimeters. I'm going to close that. And then we'll turn back on the pad, turn back on that sketch, and we can see the sketch is actually on the bottom. So if I want it to be on the top, I made my pad 25 millimeters. So I'm going to go into the sketch and I'm going to change its placement. Now with these sketches, because I created them the way I did with that draft to sketch, they're not attached to the plane the same way that normal sketches are. So what you can do is you can actually change the position here. So instead of doing the attachment, I'm doing the position. I'm just going to change it to 25. And now you can see my sketch is sitting on top. And then we're just going to create a pocket. And if we want to have our ledge go in 6 millimeters deep. That means the cap is going to go in 6. So if we made the cap 10 thick, it would be sticking out 4. So we're going to do that for this particular instance. And so right away you can see the easy setup here is I have my outside of my letter and I have the first ledge. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this pocket and I'm going to rename it to letter B ledge pad. And this is just so I can keep track of them. And then I'm going to take the letter B ledge sketch. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to paste that. And now I'm going to put that sketch back inside the letter B. Ignore this sketch over here. This is a different sketch that I made earlier. It's going to be for the cap. So then this one, I'm going to open up. I'm going to turn off my pad. And then what I want to do is I want to go back to my construction lines and do my offset. So I'm going to use my macro again. And in my macro, I can do this on this area here. It says select everything but construction lines. So I can select that. And again, I click on the outside. The reason I'm doing that is if I click in here, it'll deselect everything. So I don't want to do that. I want to select that stuff and then click on the outside of FreeCAD on the frame, just so to give focus back. Then I can just press the delete button. And that'll get rid of all of that. So now what I'm going to do is the exact same thing I just did, but I'm going to offset it a little bit further than it was. So I'm going to go back in here and I'm going to do my offset. And this time I'm going to do it 3. I'm going to do the same thing for the bottom part. Offset. I'm going to do 3. And then I'm going to do that selection on the top. And I'm going to do my offset for that one. I'm going to make that -3. And then I have that weirdness again, so I need to go and just get rid of that. So we'll do that real quick. Not quite sure what's causing that. There must be something that's a bit weird over there. And if you look, it left a tiny little break there. So I'm just going to select those two and join them back together. The approximation will be close enough. And then I'm going to close that. And I'm going to turn back on my piece. And then I'm going to do another pocket. And this time my pocket's going to go down to, I'm going to leave 3 in the back. So I'll do 22. And there now I have a pocket where I can put my LEDs. And I have a place where my cap is going to fit on to there. Now, of course, if you make your letters bigger than I did, you'll have more space in between. It's up to you. You would have to, when you do the LEDs, they'll probably go flat down there, but you'd have to put them on their side around those pieces. So you might want to think about that. You might want to make your letters a bit bigger. My first one, the letters were twice this size, just so you know, so you have a lot of space. Because with them being larger, you're going to have to break them up anyway to print them all out. I'll show you how we'll do that in a little bit here. But that's basically the first letter, and you can see that's how I would do that one. I'm going to rename this to letter B cutout pad, and I'm going to rename this just to letter B cutout. So now I have all of those sketches done. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my part and I'm going to create a new body. And this body is going to be called letter B cap. And then I'm going to drop that sketch in there. And that sketch happens to have been, this sketch is the outside of our letter B, the part that's a construction line, offset by 0.2. So I've only offset it 0.2. And that's going to make my cap shape. So I'm going to close that. And then I'm going to pad this. And I'm going to make it 10. Now what I need to do is to go in here and say rename letter B pad. And then I'm going to take the sketch that I have for the letter B cap. I'm going to copy that. Going to paste it. I'm going to bring that one back inside here. And I'm going to call this letter B cap cutout. And now what we need to do for that letter B is we need to go into that one. I'm just going to turn off the outside there. I need to select everything but the construction lines. So I'm going to use my macro again, select everything but construction lines, and click back up here and delete. And then we're going to do the offset the way that we need it for the cap hole. So we're going to do that. I'm just going to make sure I select everything properly here. Then we're going to do our offset. And this is just going to be the thickness of that cap. So remember we were minus 0.2 was to the outside edge to give us a little bit of clearance. And we probably only need it to be 2 millimeters thick. So if I say -2, that is probably good enough. We got that weirdness up there again, so we'll fix that in a minute. And we're going to offset, and we're going to say 2, that one, offset 2, and then go just fix this guy. Go back in there and just fix that little bit there. It's just wrapping itself inside out a little bit. I don't know why it's doing that, but it is. And so we just have to make sure that we're taking care of that. Then we're going to close that. And I'm going to turn back on my cap here. There it is. And you'll see my sketch is actually going to be on the bottom of that one. And we're going to do a pocket. We're going to reverse it. Remember, this is 10 thick, so we want to go to at least 8. Say OK. Now that leaves us a cap with 2 millimeter thickness, so the light can shine through it. And then if I turn on the letter B, that cap should fit right inside the letter B. And I'm going to show you one that I've done already printed out and everything. So that's basically how you're going to do it. And you're going to go through each letter and make that all those offsets. And I'm going to provide you with this macro, so macro 2, so you'll be able to select what you need to select so that you can make the right selections and do your offsets the way you want them to be. Once that's all done, you're going to print those out and you will have your letters. Now, one of the things I mentioned, because the sign is so big, certainly for my Ender 3, they're too big to print multiple letters out. So what I did is I created a backplate, and I'm going to show you that real quick. So what I did is I created a backplate that all those letters can sit on. I'll show you how they look. So there's the letter B and E in the backplate. Turn those letters off. So what I can do is I print out this backplate, and then the letter will drop into there. And then on the back of the backplate, I have a hole recess, so I can put all the LED stuff in here and run it out, and then just made a through hole so you can come into each letter and light it up. That way you can locate everything the way you want it and get it all set up on the back plate. Now to separate the back plate, because obviously I did it from, if I show you with the rest of the letters, so I did it with the letters like that so that they were still the same spacing. Now to split those up, it's pretty simple. Once you've got your back plate squared away, you can literally just make a whole copy of that back plate. And then once you've made that copy, you can split it using a Boolean operation. You can basically cut away, and I cut it away with a dovetail. So I've cut it away, so now I have just one letter, and I can print this out, and then I can mount the letter in there, put all the LEDs in. The LEDs are going to run through the back. And then, so with the A, I would have the same thing with the dovetail here, and it would sit over there. And then I can just piece the whole thing back together. And the same thing, I did exactly the same thing for my palm tree. So I haven't completed this yet. I haven't printed it all out yet because it's quite a big undertaking. Each letter takes 7 or 8 hours. So I haven't done all of that, but I have printed a letter and that B locator right there are all printed. So I'm going to show you those, and I'll show you the lights that I bought as well. And I'll leave a link for you how to get those lights. So let's go ahead and do that. So here's the letter. This is my first iteration of the letter. And here is the cover that goes over it. So this is the cap. And we can just pop that in there like that. So the cap sits on there nicely. Cap's thinner, so the light will shine through. And then this is the carrier. So I have a dovetail here. Once I put the plate on the back, that will hold everything together. And then the letter can just sit in here. So if I just pop it in there, because of those offsets, everything fits just fine. And I printed that carrier without supports. Printed it on this side as the base. So basically that's how I do it for each of the letters. And then I just wanted to show you, this is the set of lights I have. I'll leave a link in the description below, but this is the set of lights. They look like this. So those are the individual LEDs. And it has a controller that goes with it. The controller looks like this. And it connects through an app. You can connect that to Alexa, or you can just use your app, and you can turn it on and off. So that's basically how that works. Now, as far as setting it all up is concerned, these letters take a long time to print, so I will be doing them over time. I'll show you them when I get them done, but I'm not in a hurry to get them done right now. So that's it for this video. Again, I just wanted to show you how to do it. I'm not going to show you every single step of the way. We'd be here for days. So I've created all of the different letters using that exact same method. The B was by far the most complicated one because it had the B splines. E, A, and H don't have any B splines because they're all just straight. And so those offsets are very easy. Use the macro and you'll find that it's very easy to select the lines, to select the correct ones. That macro, I'll leave a link below so you'll be able to get to that too. If you enjoyed this format, let me know. I'm interested to see if you'd prefer that I show you every single letter and how to do every single one, or if you're happy with me just showing you the concepts and then you guys can run with it. As far as this file is concerned, it'll be available to my patrons, and we'll be able to go through any details on Patreon over what's necessary. If you have any questions, if you're not a patron and you want to just ask questions, you can leave a comment below on this video, or you can leave a comment on coffee.com, or you can leave a comment on the channel as well. So you can go to the channel and put comments there. So either way, I always respond to every comment and I will help you if you need help. Hopefully you've enjoyed the video. If you have, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, it's free. Go ahead and subscribe, and then you'll see the next video coming out, and you'll also get to see this thing when it's complete. Once I get it all complete and have the lights in it, I will do a short video just to show you guys what it looks like. Thanks, and I look forward to making the next one.